Voices to hear.
Hello to our dear listeners. I'm Zoe.
I'm Augustin.
And you're listening to Voices to Hear. Today we will discuss about the Olympic Games that are now taking place in Paris.
We are hosting two youngsters from France who will tell a little bit more about their insight of this global event.
Hello, my name is Adèle. I'm from France, but I've been living in the United States for the past 5 years. There I was NCAA college athlete. The NCAA is the National Collegiate Athletic Association. It's the biggest association for sports in the United States within universities. And I've been competing in the NCAA in a cross country and track and field for the past 5 years. And I obviously follow sports a lot, and I'm really excited about the Olympic Games.
So, are you planning on following the Olympic Games? And if yes, how?
Absolutely. Well, I'm planning on following the games mostly, but I think not every sport. I have some sports I want to follow and some athletes and some teams. And I'm going to try to follow what France does overall. But I think I'm pretty much only going to follow track and field, really follow it. On TV and on the app, they have the Paris 2024 app for the results. So I think I'm going to look at that. And I have a ticket to go watch track and field one morning, but it's the early round, so it's not too exciting, but it's fun to have the opportunity to do that.
Where do you know where exactly is going to be that discipline going on?
Yeah, I think it's in Saint-Denis. It's in a big track and field stadium there.
You have in track and field any sportive discipline that you're...
Yeah, I'm going to follow the mid-distance events. I'm going to follow everything, but I'm definitely going to follow 800 up to marathon. I'm sure I'm going to know what's happening in the sprint event. I'm really looking forward to watch the 400 hurdles in women 400 hurdles. I could care less about throwings events. I'm not going to follow that. I don't know anything about it. Same for jumps. Mostly racing, definitely.
Do you have an athlete that you're following in particular, or one athlete that you know from before and that you're excited to see? Or it's for the sport more than for the athlete, right?
Yeah, it's for both. It's the sport that I do, so I know all about it. I'm very much of a track nerd, and I do know a lot of athletes. So I'm supporting. I would say I could name one person in each event, from the 800 meter all the way to the marathon, that I support. So yeah, I'm rooting for a specific athlete, definitely.
And so you told us about the app for to following Olympic Games?
Yeah, but I can see the results, and I can also know if there is the schedule, so I know when is which event. And you can see also the total medal that France have, and the total ranking for every countries.
What do you think about the promotion about Olympic Games?
The one online and the one you saw maybe in the streets. What do you think of the way they promoted it?
Yeah, well, to be fair, I've not been in France during the campaign, so I've not seen most of it. In all honesty, I've been in France for a week, and I've been seeing some Paris 2024 stuff, even in the south of France, in my little town. But it's really light. I haven't seen much campaign, to be honest. Because I'm an athlete, I know a lot about the games, and I follow. If the games were somewhere else, I would see, I feel as much, because I follow all those athletes on social media and stuff. But I don't think I necessarily felt like the campaign was big in the States, at least. The only thing I know is I have a lot of friends who are traveling from the US to Paris to watch the games. And maybe because it's Europe, it's more people are likely to go and watch them because they can come for something else than the game, because it's Europe and they also go on a Europe tour. Yeah. I guess I saw on social media a little bit more like in the past 2 months how like people are kind of talking about the swimming in the Seine. That's a big deal. Like people in America came to me and were like, French people want to poop in the Seine because the president is going to swim. And they were like making fun of that.
In the sense that this pooping story about the Seine, I haven't heard it when I was in France. I heard it from American friends as well. So it's strange how something that goes viral in the country one use and that is not going viral in the country where it actually appears. I mean, did you have your French friends speaking about this as well?
No, I don't. I have not.
Do you think in the American media they speak about Olympic Games? It's like a popular event in America?
Yeah, I think they do. I don't watch TV much in the States. I guess I read the New York Times sometime, and the New York Times talks about track and field, which is surprising because I feel like we don't talk much about track and field, but they did talk about track and field and about especially one athlete who is like Noah Lyles. He's like a sprinter and everyone is waiting for him at the Olympics. So they mentioned that. And I've seen some article about Paris, but yeah, that's the only thing I've seen.
We also wanted to ask, what do you think about what the Olympics are going to bring to France on positive aspects and negative aspects, if you can think of them? Maybe you see only positive aspects or only negative, but to you, according to your own opinion, what do you think it will bring to the country in general?
I don't know if it is bringing anything to France. It's hard to say. I think I like the Olympics because I'm really into sports, but I don't know if they are necessarily a good thing, like especially environmentally. And I feel like Parisians are more upset about them than anything else. It's going to bring tourists, but Paris is already the most visited city in the world. So it's not like we like those. I just think it's a lot of money. I guess the only thing that is bringing that if it goes bad, which it can like already, I don't know if you saw today, but there has been a lot of like attacks on the train lines going to Paris. There has been a lot of fire and it's starting already. And I feel like, especially with like the terrorist threat that we have and the issue with the Seine and the issue with like traffic in Paris and stuff. I'm wondering if it goes wrong, it can be bad for France, but I'm not saying it will go wrong. But if it goes, it's just a lot to put in one big city that is already, it's a very old city with a lot of monuments and they are trying to fit all of this in there. And it seems like it's kind of hard to do so.
Okay.
And it's bringing a lot of tourists. And I think we already have enough of this here. It's not like France needs like advertising in the world.
So you can say that you're really exciting about the sport event, but you're not especially exciting about the event in itself and event in France. You don't care that it's in France. It could be like in other country. You will follow the Olympic Games as same.
Exactly. That's exactly that. I think to me, I will follow the Olympics wherever it is. And I think with there's countries where I see the problem being bigger because, for example, when it was in Brazil, it was a big issue with spending so much money on this while the country is really struggling and there's a lot of poor people and they should put the money somewhere else rather than on like tourists coming and being in nice hotels and stuff. The only thing about it being in France that I like is I know France has been putting a lot more effort in the past 4 years in having good athletes and because we have a big issue in France with sports, like we're not good at sports because we don't value it at all. Mm-hmm. And I think we valued it more because we were like, okay, the Olympics are home, so we need to perform somewhat. So I think that's a good thing. And it's cool because I'm just really into sport and I've been dreaming my whole life to have the Olympics at home and to be able to go. And I might be able to go, so which is cool because I don't have to buy a plane ticket to go on the other side of the world to go see it. I will follow it as much if it was somewhere else. Yeah.
What do you think about the Olympic Games mascot? The fridge.
The fridge.
And not the fridge. It's totally different.
Well, okay, I actually saw it yesterday for the first time on Instagram. I don't even know what it looks like.
Oh.
I'm gonna Google it. I'm not sure. I think it's a red thingy, right?
Yeah.
Olympic.
Oh, we're gonna have a live reaction. So interesting.
Okay. And a lot of people made joke about the fridge.
Don't influence the answer.
What is it supposed to be?
Well, what do you think?
I don't know.
What do you think? Yes.
What comes to your mind when you see the mascot for the first time? That shape, does it remind you?
It looks like a sea star or a starfish. I don't know how you say it. Like Patrick. You know Patrick, it's SpongeBob.
Well, actually, it's supposed to represent the Phrygian Benny that the revolutionaries had on their head during the French Revolution. Did you ever study that Benny at school?
I did many years ago. I remember it. But I think it's silly looking, but so was the Tokyo one, and so was the previous ones. And
there is another logo, by the way. There was the mascot, but the logo of the Olympics.
I like the logo.
Also interesting. What do you think about this one? Do you know what?
Yeah, it's a flame, but it also looks like
a girl.
It looks like a girl. I also like the Paris 24 with the 4 one. It kind of looks like the Eiffel Tower, but at the same time, it also looks like a 4. I think that's good. Yeah, I like those.
Is there something more that you wanted to talk about, maybe?
I wanted to talk about ticket prices. A lot of things were saying that these Olympic Games were like supposed to be like for everyone, and I think sports is something that is so like popular that it should be accessible for everyone. And I'm personally an athlete. I've been doing track and field since I'm 9, and I like dream to go to the Olympics, and I apply for those tickets. You have to get like selected, and I got selected, and the only thing I could get was like 1 afternoon, 4 tickets for like 1 afternoon somewhere. It could not even choose the event I would want to go to, and it was like 600 plus, which is like crazy. A ticket should not be like 600 plus.
600 euros to see that.
And I don't know. I know a lot of people got tickets, so I'm sure there has been like lower prices, but the way it was made, this is what I could get. So I just gave up, and I was like, no, I'm not going to get it. And for a lot of people, it's just they cannot like afford it, and I think it's sad. I really don't think sports should be that expensive. I think they also should have made like, I think they did that maybe in Paris, but I think every French federation of any sport should have tickets for like they're like people who practice the sport, because it's like the Olympics are finally in your country. You're doing the sport. You should like be able to like get a ticket for it. I know for like the Diamond League circuit for track and field, if you're like are like at a club in France, you have tickets for a lower price and stuff like that. I just think especially for young people, they should like make the tickets more accessible. It's a lot of people have talked about it. And then I don't know how it works in other countries, because I have a lot of American friends and they are not like super duper rich, and they are able to like afford to fly there and get tickets. So yeah, it wasn't totally fair, I would say.
Well, thank you very much for answering our questions and making yourself available in the middle of the summer.
Thank you. Yeah, sure.
Have fun watching the game.
Thank you. Yeah, I got lucky. Have a good day.
Thank you. You too.
Okay.
So hello, Youen. We're glad to have you on this podcast about Olympic Games. Could you shortly introduce yourself?
Okay, so hello, I'm Youen. I'm a former volunteer in VCS. I came back to France a few months ago, and I'm currently working in Brittany, my home region, waiting for the Olympics game to end so I can move in Paris and start to work there.
So you mean you avoided the Olympics because you think it would have been an impact on the everyday life you would have had in Paris then?
Yeah, I'm really afraid of the mess it's going to be about the logistics, the transportation, the crowd there. And also the whole event is going to be so huge that I'd rather stay and work in my hometown more than going there and be upset about all these things going around.
Because living in Brittany, how do you feel the organization does something is disturbing you while living in Brittany regarding the Olympics, or you don't feel much a difference if the Olympics weren't held in Paris this year?
Well, from Brittany, as it's far enough from Paris, we don't see much difference, except that the inhabitants of Paris that have the money to go elsewhere are gonna come here. A lot of people, like mostly middle class, rich people, own housing in Brittany, and so they're gonna enjoy their vacation over there more than here, more than in Paris, where gonna be overcrowded. Basically, Parisians are fleeing from Paris, so we can see them arriving here, but otherwise, there's no much thing except that what you call that Olympic flame did pass through a bunch of regions and including my hometown. But
it passed
apart
through
from that,
Casteldolas.
yeah, like right in the front of my room, my bedroom, but I wasn't there, unfortunately.
You wish you could see it.
I saw it already in Brest, but it wasn't really worth it.
Because it was too much people, right? You couldn't be in the front.
Yeah, and also like basically there were, I would say, there were a dozen of police vehicles behind and in front and etc. And there were like mascot vehicles, so from Coca-Cola and from some banks. So like they were not, it wasn't really about Olympics more or the people that are doing sports, just about the sponsor and the security. So yeah, it wasn't really worth it. I could barely see the real flame.
Are you personally like interested by the Olympic Games and the sport at Olympic Games?
I wouldn't say really interested, but I'm not hostile. Like for sure, if there's some cool happenings, like for example, I do like to watch natation, swimming, and running, athleticism. Those are really worth it, I think, during the Olympics. So whenever there are Olympics, I'll give it a look, but not especially. I'm not really enthusiastic. Just why not?
Okay, you're gonna watch on TV?
Probably if my family does, I will give it a look. I think I find it to really a lot of space in like every life of some people and in the news and in everything. It was really a lot of things for not that much. I mean, it's interesting and enjoyable to see competition and sport happening like that. But I wonder if all that goes around, all the security, all the special measures and the opening ceremony and all of this stuff around, it's a bit like too much, in my opinion.
I have a question about the campaign that you in Brittany. Did you notice that the physical promotional campaign that they did for Olympics was really spread in the region, in the big cities, or you speaking more about something in going in the media, covering, or on the internet, the news, social media? What type of space did this campaign took? I'm not sure I understood through your words.
There's both of them. There's the media coverage, of course, and that's the main thing. That everyone and every politicians, every journalist, every TV show, everyone is talking about the Olympics. And there's something like, I'm not hostile to the Olympic Games, and I do enjoy some competition, as I already told you, but it's like you cannot not be overexcited about it. And so that's why it's been a bit annoying. And even if in my hometown, like they blocked the whole city for a couple of days, and we have like flags and advertising spots and things around. Also, like you're going on YouTube, you're going on social medias. There's so much things talking about it that you cannot achieve peace and just if you're not really into it, you have to be. And I don't like that. I don't like to be forced to be into something if I don't want to.
We were wondering if you could share with us what do you think that the Olympics are going to bring to France on a positive and negative scale, because there will be maybe some positive outcome, but also negative ones. Did you got the occasion to think about it? Maybe
that's an interesting question. I think for the positive outcome of the Olympics, there's of course the coverage and the tourism, and that's what's expected, of course, as a result of the Olympics game. France gonna be under the spotlights for a few weeks, and especially Paris, and that's also one of the things. To come back on the former answer, I'm thinking about it right now, but the positive outcome and the tourism and fact that there's going to be spotlights pointed on something, it's for Paris. And it's not really for France, even though if they put some territories to as associates with some of the shows that are going to be held elsewhere, mostly it's about Paris. And that's why I'm a bit sick of it. It's like it's not happening, and I'm not really attached to Paris. And I think it's something shared across Europe. Like you're gonna ask some German, Polish, or Macedonian people if they are on the countryside and something is happening in their capital city, they won't gonna be like that much involved that if they would be living in the capital. So it's a bit the same here. I would say even more maybe. That's the positive outcome. It's going to be for sure, like for Paris and for promotional purposes of Paris and tourism in Paris. Otherwise, I don't know. There's going to be for sure the medals and awards for France, but like countries will have a chance to achieve some performance in there. So it's not especially more France than another country.
What you said about the positive outcome of the city of Paris, because the previous person we interviewed said that, well, Paris is already the most visited city in the world. Maybe we don't need to have that advertisement there. It's already crowded enough, and it's already having kind of problems with tourism accommodation in Paris, prices, and so on. I think it's interesting that you pointed out the fact that it's going to be a positive impact, while the other person said it was a negative one. Just to mention it, it was interesting.
Of course, but like because I didn't mention the negative aspects for now.
Not yet. Go on.
Because that's I agree with the previous person. Like Paris is already on the spotlights, and Paris is already like, I don't know, the huge majority of benefits from tourism in France, which is like the most visited country in the world. It's from Paris. So yeah, it's gonna have an overexposure more than it already has. And that's cool for them. But first, it's not about France, it's about Paris and Parisians. And so that's the first annoying thing. It's, you're French, you're going to be like, so you should be so excited about it. No, I don't care. It's far, like from France it's a big country. So it's like something would happen in Romania, and you should be excited about it as Macedonian or Greek guy, like it's almost the same distances. So that's a first thing. And the second point is about the who in Paris are gonna have benefits about it, because they're also like, those are the reason why I'm a bit sick of all the logistics and the whole event and everything that's around. It's also about putting out and pushing out all the people that doesn't look good on the picture of Paris as a dream city where the Olympics are going to be held. What I do mean, it's that the students were kicked out of their dormitories during the summer. The people that are on the streets were basically deported in other cities. People even that are living around Paris won't be allowed to access certain zones, areas in the city without authorization or tickets. They need to buy just to walk along some streets. So it doesn't make sense. and for a lot of people that are living there or like that are kicked out from there, and they won't see any good outcome about it, just like their material conditions and their living conditions decreasing, basically.
For what reason the students were kicked out of their dormitories?
Yeah, because there is a need of all the logistics. It's about all the logistics. I think there is gonna be 10,000 foreign policemen and military member, additionally to already 30,000 people mobilized in France just for the security of the Olympics. Then there's going to be a need of all the technicians, all the builders, all the health staff, everything. Like, it's so huge organization that they need every means available to just to feed them and to house them. And in order to do so, Paris is big, but not big enough for that kind of competition. There did choices, and the choices, it's about like kicking the poorest people. It's funny because I saw in some news a few days ago that some policemen were complaining about the horrible conditions and sanitary conditions of their living. Like, they were complaining about the state of their dormitories while it's dormitories for students. Policemen are just discovering that it's not so cool to be a student in Paris because they're going through the same conditions as them the rest of the year.
We had another question, I think the last one, about the mascot of the Olympics.
What represents for you the mascot of Olympic Games? And do you think it's a good idea? And do you like the design?
What is the mascot?
It's the fridge. You can check right now on internet, and you will see, and you can tell us what is supposed to represent for you.
So that's the hats of the French revolutionaries during the French Revolution, and it's also a symbol of citizens and inhabitants of Paris. Yeah, I mean, like, why not? They had to find something. They could have chosen something else, maybe because this is like related to some specific history. But on the other hand, it's merchandising, so they had to find something anyway. I'm not really I don't have strong opinion about it right now.
Any opinion about the question? Okay.
Yeah. Did you check the logo of the Olympics as well? The mascot and the logo are different. Do you get an occasion to take a look at the logo with the flame, if I recall?
Yeah, I think I saw the logo, the Eiffel Tower. It's Paris, so it looks like a bit Total Energies. Maybe they're sponsoring.
It's a good point of view because I never thought of it, but now that you told me, it's exactly not in gold. Okay.
Nothing special about it.
Special. And I have a question. If you could change something about the organization, about the planning of Olympic Games in France, if Olympic Games had to happen in France, but you can change something in the organization, what you would change?
I think I would conceive. Okay, I'm not an architect, so I technically cannot do that. But I would conceive some stadiums and like all the infrastructures they did set in place for the Olympics to be held. I would make it in order to, like, in some way that they could be readapted to the benefits of the people that are currently suffering of the ceremony right now. For example, stadium that could be changed afterwards in a big student dormitory with a huge DJ set on the middle of it, like, to be a bit utopian about it. But in more serious way, some stuff like that, like all the infrastructures of the logistics, and like keep that, but in order to have a positive impact for the local population that isn't really involved in the process of the Olympics.
Building recycling.
Yes.
Amazing.
Why not? They're transforming a whole city as theater scene for it. So I think nothing is impossible. That's the motto of the Olympic Games. So that shouldn't be neither.
Impossible is not French.
Yeah, exactly. Other good motto to keep in mind.
Thank you very
You're
much for
welcome.
participating and to give thorough answers, really developed one. I also learned some stuff, by the way, listening to you. So thank you.
Cool.
Yes, thank you
You're
very
welcome.
much.
Voices to hear.